Hey everyone, welcome to a live edition of the Bolt City Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us in the middle of the day. If you're on the West Coast time, it's 1 o'clock on a Thursday on March 21st, 2024. Again, if you're here, we ask you to push that like button and subscribe. We're close to another round number, so that's what we want. We want to continue going up, can continue to keep this show going. Not asking to smash anything, just push the like button, push the subscribe button. Today's show is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be basically you get a chance to run the show. You're going to get a chance to direct the show where we're going to sit there and look at your questions, your topics that you throw up, and we're going to answer. Now, some people might say that's the lazy way of doing a show. It's not. This is what we want to do. We want to make the show interactive is what we're trying to do. And so you're going to see this throughout the year and even during the season. We're going to have interactive shows where we want the people who are Charger fans as well to sit there and kind of run the show to see if maybe we're helping you out, if you can get something off your chest. But we get a chance, the three of us, every single day to sit there and talk Chargers through text messages. Then we jump on and we talk with you at least 2 to 3 times a week. So we get it all out. We can say whatever we want, but this is your opportunity as a Charger fan. Look, it hasn't been a fun ride. We talk about the empty trophy case all the time. You aren't alone. So right now you can prove you aren't alone, and you can sit there's craziest things might be that you might want to mention and say something like, I tell you, this team took a turn for the worst when they cut Buster Davis. We're going to tell you what we think about that. You are crazy. All right. That's not 100% not true. We're going to go in different directions. We'll tell you what we think. But again, I'm Dave Palais. That's Josh Palais, Mario Heron at the bottom of the screen. And we're the ones that do the Bolt City Podcast. Appreciate you listening and, of course, participating in today's show. So feel free to ask questions. Josh or Mario will read them because I can't see a damn thing. But I do want to bring up 2 topics to you guys before we get going, okay? We're going to let people run the show, but 2 topics I want to bring up. Caleb Williams looks like he's clearly the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, had his private workout at USC. We've spoken about this before. I'm not a huge fan of private workouts, combine, all that stuff, especially private workouts where everything is designed to be perfect. In the NFL, the other team is putting together a plan where everything is designed not to be perfect. We're going to make you uncomfortable. Most passes in the NFL are not made from the pocket. Guess what? You aren't even wearing T-shirts and shorts in the middle of March in Southern California. You don't have cornerbacks covering these wide receivers. But yet at the same time, that's the way it goes, and people get excited. And somebody on the Chicago Bears paid for a hotel room and a first-class plane ticket to make sure, if not, wasn't a private plane, to get to L.A. and check him out. So am I wrong on believing that these private workouts are the biggest waste of time, that if you don't see what you want out of a player through basically video of a game against quality competition, it's a bust. It's a joke.
I don't understand the purpose of a private workout, because you get things that come out of private workouts that aren't real. Like you said, you could be wearing a T-shirt and shorts and look like the best player of all time, Quentin Johnson, and also Zach Wilson. Remember when Zach Wilson made that pass rolling to his left? Everybody's seen that. It's a viral video. Oh, my God, he can roll to his left and throw the ball 60 yards. Well, dude, he could throw the ball 60 yards rolling to his left to who? On the Jets. It doesn't matter what you can do in T-shirts and shorts. He can't do that in the game. We've seen Zach Wilson play real football. That doesn't happen in the real game. I'm 100% with you. We sound like get off our lawn guys, but the private workouts to me run old. Let's see the game film. Let's see how these guys play against real competition and then judge them that way.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I feel like the private workouts is just for mainly like, hey, how healthy is this guy? Like if there's an injury at the end of the year, how you doing? Like how you doing with that? Make sure the guy's still in shape. Kind of check it out mentally too. Do your, whatever test, ask them whatever weird questions you want to ask. I get that route, but besides that, it's a waste of time. Zach Wilson's a perfect thing. He looked, everyone's seen that throw. Any QB that's going to the NFL draft, that's in the NFL, you have them in shorts and a T-shirt doing routes on air. Boy, are they going to look incredible. They're going to look so good. Take a freaking NBA player and you have them just working out. You walk in the gym, you're like, dude, this guy might be the next Michael Jordan. Like you're going to be like astonished and find out he's in a G League trying to make it into the league. You're like, oh, it's a lot different when people on the floor, a lot of things different when there's people on the field. The private workouts, it's a fun highlight time, but it's just, I think, hey, footwork's good, great. It's just, I think, just confirming some stuff. And also, I think, Dave, who lied about their weight and height? Because that was a big thing for Bryce Young last year, right? Is like, is he really, 6 foot? Is he really? They never are.
Well, you could.
But we all lie.
They aren't. And I tell you what, no one's a bigger liar than me. Josh will tell you. I coach a high school baseball team. Dude, I add so much height to every one of my players on max preps and weight. I sit there and I play with the weight a little bit, but I was like, do you play baseball barefoot? So I always add, another inch or so, let's say for the cleats, and it's over the top. I just want the other team to look at it and go, oh my God, they got some big dudes over there. And we aren't. But at the same time, completely lie. The kids always laugh about it. But yeah, Bryce Young, you could see when he's standing next to other pros. The funny when you guys talk about Zach Wilson being able to throw the ball going to his left, Heath Schuler, who was a quarterback at the University of Tennessee, went and played for Washington. The talk was always he could throw the ball 50 yards on his knees. Well, what the hell does that matter? I believe that's a tackle. I like what?
Marcus Russell.
Yeah. I mean, insane. Oh, he can throw the ball, 85 yards? Well, who has time to wait for the guy to go 85 yards to throw it? At that point, you're done. And so it's anyway. Complete mess. The reason I wanted to bring it up, Mario, is that there was so much excitement, not only nationally about Caleb Williams, because, he is supposed to be the number one player, won the Heisman Trophy not long ago, but you're in Chicago. Was it a big deal in Chicago on how great his workout was?
Yes and no. It was a big thing to go, hey, how do you look? And everyone was like, oh my God, he looks so spectacular. That was obviously a talking point. I think it was more of just to make sure it didn't go terrible and there wasn't anything alarming going on. But other than that, Josh, it was nothing. It's nothing to run home about. It's a segment filler. And March 21st, when your producer goes, hey, we need to talk football. Oh, he had a workout. Beautiful. Let's run with this that he did really good in the workout. Let's run with this that he threw on the run. It's content filler.
Couldn't care less. Is he going to be a Charger? No, move on. The guy I'm concerned about, seriously, I couldn't care less. He's not going to be on my team. Marvin Harrison Jr., people are making a lot out of him not participating in the combine and the pro day. He's a perfect example of what we were just talking about, a guy that plays well when it matters in real competition. He's very easy to judge. The guy is a big-time prospect from a big-time conference and a big-time school. Mario, I can almost guarantee that the Chargers are going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. if he's available at 5, and then they're going to take Blake Corum either in the second or third round, probably the second, because that's just the way it looks right now. You look at Marvin Harrison Jr.'s stats against Jim Harbaugh, 20 in 2 games, 2022, he goes off, seven catches, 120 yards and a touchdown. And then in 2023 last season, he has 5 catches for 118 yards and a touchdown. Jim Harbaugh has seen firsthand how good Marvin Harrison Jr. is. And for people to make a big deal about him not participating in the combine and pro day, who cares? We know who this guy is and we know he can play. And that's what matters most as a fan.
Yeah, and you have a guy that was there right there, seeing it all, right, Dave? There was no one that knows, you mentioned it, Josh, no one knows him better than Jim Harbaugh. He's the one that got freaking killed by him the past 3 years. Even though he beat him, he's the one that got killed by him. He knows him better than anyone. Do you think they'd trade up for him? Do you think they could get desperate enough and go, we'll trade up to get him?
I don't think they're going to have to trade up for him. It looks like Arizona came out and said, they're willing to trade that pick. If Arizona's looking to trade that pick, someone's looking to grab a quarterback. And so I don't think they're going to have to do it. I hope they don't do it and fall for it. Going back to what you said, both of you about Jim knowing, Marvin Harrison Jr. better than anybody. I mean, dude, he spent weeks trying to stop him, right? You're just going through your game plan on defense going, how do we stop this guy? How do we contain him? So he does know him better than anyone else. I mean, it's actually a perfect scenario for being familiar with the guy you want to take. But I think he's going to be there. If he's not available at 5, I would be extremely surprised. I was thinking about this a couple hours ago, and then it made me nervous. And I was like, I'm going to bring it up to these guys and make them nervous too. We've made it clear that we were hoping they would go after Brock Bowers, that tight end that could match kind of like what Travis Kelce has been to the Chiefs. Any chance the Chiefs now trade up and go, well, Kelce is always talking about retiring a lot lately, that they go, we're going to get our next Kelce, and that Brock Bowers is a guy that the Chiefs are targeting?
They should. They absolutely should. If you have a guy in the draft that's, we've talked about this ad nauseum. Brock Bowers, guys like him don't come out very often. The last tight end that came out was Kyle Pitts, right? And I really want to judge Kyle Pitts on this next year with a real quarterback. But if you're going to be able to replace Travis Kelce with the guy that's most like Travis Kelce, why would you not do it, Mario? I think that makes a lot of sense for the Chiefs. They have nobody else to throw to on that team. Don't tell me Sky Moore and McCole Hardman and all the other guys they have over there are guys.
Hollywood
They're
Brown.
just guys. They're just guys. Marquise Brown's just a guy. He's best one of the bunch, but he's not a number one receiver. If I'm the Chiefs, I would definitely be interested in trading up for Brock Bowers. It's a good call by you.
I think it's a beautiful call. Like they have to do. Like I know it's worked out the past 2 years of no true dominant wideout one running with Kelsey and just figuring out from there. But like at some point, man, you got to fill that need. Like at some point, and I think Brock Bowers is a good substitute for it. Like you said, we're probably going on what 3 years left that he really
35.
has tops.
It's going to be 35 this year.
Yeah, he's got 2 to 3 years left tops. Like that's all he's got. And
if he wants to do it,
if he wants to do it. And like Bowers is a smart option, but they really need a wide receiver. Like that should be everything Kansas City should be focused on. I hope they don't go. I hope they do the Packer way, which was just never get Aaron Rodgers a number one receiver in round one. But I don't know, Dave. I think it could be the best option for him.
I'd tell you what, if I was the Chiefs, I would go. I don't care who the wide receiver was. I would go Bowers if he's available or is doable for the fact Mahomes can work in that offense with that tight end that finds the open spot. He's never had those big time wide receivers. Tyreek Hill was outstanding, but his speed was such a big deal. You're not going to find guys with that kind of speed like Tyreek Hill. They're once in a lifetime guys. But when you find the tight end that obviously Mahomes has won 3 Super Bowls with, why would you want to mess up the secret sauce?
You wouldn't. I think Xavier Worthy's another guy to look for, the speedy receiver from Texas. He could be the next Tyreek Hill for them. I don't think he's as good as Tyreek Hill. I don't think anybody in the draft's going to be the next Tyreek Hill. Even Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr., you wouldn't want to put that much pressure on them to say they're going to lead the league in receiving, even though they definitely can. But I think those are 2 guys that the Chiefs are probably going to start targeting as Brock Bowers and Xavier Worthy. I want to get to some of the comments, Mario.
Okay.
I'm going to get to one that was just asked right now because I think it's an interesting question. Brendan Rice, the son of Jerry Rice, would you want the Chargers to target him? And I got to find who asked that question because I think it's a good question. Everybody's pointing to Brendan Rice going to the Chargers because of him playing at USC. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh has ties to the 49ers. Dennis Yum asked that question.
Honestly, at this point, I'm for any receiver. Like I was trying to look at it today, like which one I prefer the most besides, the obviously ones of Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. He's a guy who can get in the later rounds, which is nice. Look, I'm for it. He obviously, I think he had 12 touchdowns this past year, which is huge. His yardage, you'd think would be a little bit higher because of the offense he was in and the quarterback that he had. That being said, I mean, this is about to sound like the most dumb, obvious analysis of all time, Dave. He's got Jerry Rice blood in him. I'm sorry, he has it in him. That's not something you think about a little bit. Make fun of me all you want, but the highlights you see of him, the strengths and the things that people see, he's a touchdown machine. But the Jerry Rice blood in him, that excites me a little bit. I can really warp my brain around going, oh yeah, he's gonna be Jerry Rice Jr.
Look, I don't even know how that worked. I've seen that fail so many times. I want to know what kind of athlete his mom was. I mean, he has her blood too in him, right? I mean, you ever hear of Craig Griffey, Ken Griffey Jr.'s brother? Not so good. Bobby Bonds Jr., not so good. You never know. I kind of agree with the angle that Josh just took at the very beginning there, that you look at, he was on a team where the weather was perfect, high-powered offense, the best quarterback in the nation, big-time OC, and his numbers weren't as great as Marvin Harrison Jr. against lesser competition. I don't know what he is.
I don't think Brendan Rice's numbers were that bad. Yeah, I mean, he had 45 catches for 791 yards and 12 touchdowns. I'm with you, Mario. There's 29 receivers
a game. That's 4 catches
12
a
touchdowns. Game. We're here for points. We're not here for catches. Keenan Allen had 18 catches a game. We won 5 games.
That's true.
It doesn't matter. There's 29 receivers in the Hall of Fame, and 2 of them are Jerry Rice and Marvin Harrison Sr. I'm with Mario.
Yeah.
I like the percentage there. You take Marvin Harrison Jr. You take Marvin Harrison Jr. and Brendan Rice. One of them's going to pan out. I mean, their dads are Hall of Famers for a reason. I like that. I think Brendan Rice is a guy you could definitely look at. There's so many receivers in this draft. I think you'd be dumb just to pass up on any of them. Dave, I'm going to ask you the first question here in the chat. Or Mario, what do you got?
Wants to say something.
I was about to say, just adding on top of that, he brought a score in every 5.2 catches during his career. And something that we saw in Quentin Johnson, that was like a big ding on him, but not with Brendan Rice. Big strength of his, outworks and outreaches the competition at 50-50 balls. I think we need that.
Yeah,
Desperately need
we
that
do.
badly. All right, Dave. JCAM, who pays us in Mexican pesos, says, draft a running back in the second. How the F are we going to be a run-heavy team with Gus Edwards and Josh Kelly? The current roster makes no sense for the gym scheme, or does it? And I wouldn't even say the gym scheme. I'd say the Greg Roman scheme.
Yeah, okay. This goes back to the hiring of Jim Harbaugh. And again, I got to stand by what I said. Whatever they do in this first year, I got to just say yes. Okay, that's where I'm at. Now, if it was, the old regime and they're picking, and I'm like, what the hell are we doing? Right? I'm a little disappointed so far. I'll be honest with you. Now, I understand you don't have any cap space and you don't have any money to go out and buy new things like everyone else seems to be doing. I understand. Now you got rid of some big time contracts. You had some wiggle room, but guess what? You got rid of the contracts at the wrong time. All the good stuff was off the shelves. So if I was drafting, I would go one of these skilled guys first, meaning one of these top wide receivers or, a tight end. Then I would go either defense or offensive line. And then I would go running back guys third or fourth round. And maybe people are saying, oh, what are you talking about? And that's too long to wait. I don't think it's too long to wait. Running back is the strangest position in the league where you're in and out of the NFL so fast. The average running back only plays a year and a half, and his career's over. That's the average. That shows you how many times people kind of fail on this. But you look at the Rams situation. They had Cam Akers, and Cam Akers was good for that short sprint during the postseason when they won the Super Bowl. And then he went back to being a disappointment that couldn't wait to get rid of him. And then all of a sudden they found a great running back last year. And before that, Todd Gurley, wins MVP. And then his career's over, before he's even, I don't think Todd Gurley's even 30 now. And he's been out of the league for a few years. It's just one of those where if you're able to find someone that you really love and even the fourth or fifth round, I think you're going to be okay. But there are positions in this league that are built to last. And offensive line is one of them. And if Jim Harbaugh stays to what he's been, there's an offensive lineman coming early in the draft.
Where do you think the Chargers rank in cap space? Obviously, they were below the cap. Where do you think they rank now?
They were second to last before they let all those guys go. I tell you what, I'm gonna go right in the middle. I have no idea.
You got Mario.
I'm gonna go 20.
2.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that shocking? I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Shocking when everybody already spent all their money.
Yeah.
No, I just checked too.
Yeah,
you're right.
Spot Track has them as number 2 at most cap space at $39 million. I mean, there's still free agents out there. There's guys to get. I don't even think we need to be looking at the draft right now when there's still people out there to grab. Maybe you grab a couple guys after the draft too if you don't get the positions you need. But there's a lot of cap space out there for the Chargers to start.
Their offensive linemen to grab too. Their offensive linemen you can grab.
And they should. Trey Pipkins. Dude, you couldn't block my nephew from getting to Justin Herbert. I mean, it's ridiculous. All right. This one comes from AK. When training camp start, AK, we got to work on the spelling a little bit. When training camp starts, which unit has the upper hand? Which unit has the upper hand early? Defensive unit or Herbert in the offense? What do you got, Mario?
Like right now,
a lot
I'm
of
sorry to say it, guys, but it's gonna be the defense. It's gonna be the defense. Like Mack and Bosa, Darwin versus who?
Nobody.
Like I've seen, it's just
as of now.
What, Palmer? Yeah, as of now. That advantage going into training camp, I think it's gonna be heavy into the defensive side. And Dave, what are you thinking? On top of that question, I'm gonna ask you another one because I thought about this today and I wrote it down. With all the moves that's been made, has the expectation changed for 2024?
Yeah, the expectation has changed because the head coach is the biggest difference. I mean, everybody's watching. I mean, the Chargers are relevant, which we said before. Now, that being said, going back to his question, nobody wants to see the Chargers offense on March 21st going against the Chargers defense on March 21st. I mean, it would be the saddest thing you've ever seen. It would be not impressive at all, right? I mean, who are we kidding here? You're looking at the wide receiver depth chart. You have 2 wide receivers, and neither one of them are a 1 or a 2, right? Palmer and Johnson aren't 1 or 2 wide receivers in this league. You don't have really a pass catch and tight end. The running back situation, fine. If we're within the 5-yard line. I mean, offensive line's a wreck right now. Yeah, it's really sad on March 21st. Things will get better. I mean, we haven't had the draft, and as you said, we have money to spend on free agency to kind of close some holes. You never know. We always talk about the draft too. Half the guys in the NFL are undrafted players. You never know what they do after the draft as well. So, we always go 7 rounds, and of course there are guys who are drafted in the 6th or 7th round that don't even make the team. But it's the guys that you're able to talk into as free agents and to join in your franchise after the draft, where I think a lot of teams are very successful.
Yeah, AK, I don't think we can answer that question until training camp does start and we know who our team is, because right now Dave said you'd rather watch a high school offense than what the Chargers have around Justin Herbert. So we should wait. Shane Cosgrove says, draft opinion. How about we forget picking at 5 and trade down, then trade down again in the 2nd round? This and next year are prime years for Harbaugh and his collegiate staff to draft players. I'll go first on this one. I disagree. I don't think you can draft down more than once or trade down more than once. Maybe you can trade down from the 5th pick, a couple picks down. You could still end up with Malik Neighbors, who I think is just as good as Marvin Harrison Jr. But I wouldn't trade down twice, because we still need to get a big time player at the top of the draft that we can put around Justin Herbert, whether that's a lineman or a receiver. And I understand there's deep receivers in this draft, but it's not that deep. There's only a few top guys. And I've said on the last show, there's Marvin Harrison Jr., there's Malik Neighbors, and then there's everybody else to me. I think those 2 guys are just better than everybody else. I wouldn't trade down twice, even though there is a lot of holes. But that's just my opinion.
Are you not sold on the Washington wide receiver?
He's the 3rd best one, but I really think Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. have to be the guys the Chargers draft. There's no way you can pass up on them.
Yeah,
Mario, would you trade down?
That. Like, once I get it, two times, absolutely hell no. Look, I know Joe's message was to get, he was very open. He's like, look, I want to establish capital. That comes with trading. 1 is fine, 2's a lot, and that scares me. Like, it's like we're banking on a lot in the future. I'd rather go, we have a lot of holes in this team, and we want to be competitive, and we want to, win now. That's our whole motto. We just came off a 5-win freaking season. By the way, this is still a team that's in a new city that's losing the battle to the other team in its new city. You still need to build fans. You still need to build a bigger fan base. It's very hard to do that by taking your first picks in the draft and trading down. Like, that's very hard to do. So 1, fine. And you still get a wide receiver, fine. 2 times, come on, buddy. What are we doing here? Like, take advantage of the spot you're in. We're pretty high up in the 2nd round. There's a lot of value in the 2nd round. I say once is fine. 2, you're screwed. It's like when you're driving over the speed limit, and the cop goes, 1's fine, 2, you're getting a ticket. I'd give Joe and Jim a ticket.
Here's how it's going to go, all right? Because none of us are in the draft room, all right? We're all fans. We want to see the team get better. I don't even know how most fans, as far as how educated they are on what's coming out of college. They know some of the big names. We talk about them. You follow. If you're a Charger fan, you're probably looking at just randomly typing in a search, mock drafts, and you're just looking at other people's things. You're falling in love with certain players. It's natural. That's what we do. So many people have fallen in love with Marvin Harrison Jr., whereas a week ago, thinking there's no chance in hell that the Chargers have a chance of getting him, he might be on the board at 5. And then Neighbors, of course, everybody knows his name because, as Josh said, people are saying they're basically 1A, 1B. If the Chargers trade out of that 5th pick, how many Charger fans are just going to go, here we go. This is what we did. They're going to lose their mind and not know anything. And trust me, I'm going to be one of them. I'm going to be the same thing. Because we don't know the big picture of what they're trying to fill. If we're all honest with each other, we know this roster has giant holes when it comes to trying to win football games and build basically a culture for the next 10 years. Everybody is chasing the model of what the Chiefs have, right? Solid defense, young defense, solid go-to guy in the passing game, solid quarterback. The only thing the Chargers have that competes basically with what the Chiefs have is the solid quarterback. And now we have the solid coach. So there are a ton of holes to fill. So when you look at the 53-man roster of 2023 you're going to go back. I think you're going to laugh at it in about 4 years and go, oh my God, like we were fielding a team with these goofs. No wonder we only won 5 games. And then it's different. Then you're set up where you're competitive every single year. And I think the Chargers know that they can't. This is not a 1-year fix. This is something you're setting basically the foundation for.
I think with all major sports, they're copycat leagues, right? You look at the Golden State Warriors, they made 3-point shooting really popular. Now everybody likes to fill their team with 3-point shooters. You look at the Chiefs, they have a big time quarterback. You're not going to find a Patrick Mahomes in the draft, but you could find a really good tight end. And I think that's the way to go going forward, is to get either Brock Bowers or these receivers and maybe trade down and get some more assets, but don't trade twice. Al Arbaio says, what's going on, fellas? If we trade back, would you be mad if we pass on a receiver and got Brock Bowers at 11 and then a receiver at 23, or maybe even JPJ out of Oregon? I'm all for it. I'm a big Brock Bowers guy. As long as we can get a pass catcher, it doesn't have to be a receiver. It could be a tight end, but we got to get a pass catcher because we cannot go into the season with Quentin Johnston and Josh Palmer. And our last show in the comments on YouTube, people were saying there's still receivers out there. There's guys out there. There's no number one options out there. You're not going to get a guy that's going to make the team that much better where we're going to be competitive. There's 3 guys in the draft to me that you can get and I'd be happy with, but that's just my opinion. I know people are really big on Rome and some of the other receivers, but Brock Bowers would be my 3rd option right now behind Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. He used to be my first option, but with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams gone, I think you need to get a receiver. I wouldn't be mad, Mari, if you got Brock Bowers at 11 and then a receiver at 23, because there is so many good receivers in the draft, or even the center. I'm big on Bradley Bozeman because I know the guy, but I know JPJ out of Oregon is high on a lot of people's lists. I wouldn't be upset, man.
My little bit of the worry that I have if they don't go wide out and just go Brock Bowers is, and I'm just speaking off the top of my head. So like, stop me if you think of one right away. But can you think of a tight end that came into the NFL and kind of really exploded on the scene, but there wasn't other receivers that were like viable options?
I thought Gronkowski did it.
I mean, they had, but did they have Edelman and they had Hogan?
Come on, those guys didn't do jack. No, they didn't do anything. Those guys weren't even Pro Bowl receivers. Those guys were, yeah. I mean, seriously, those aren't Hall of Famers. Those aren't. Yeah, no, he was good there. I mean, guess what? He was a former Charger. They cut him. Wasn't impressive.
We're not going to do that right now. Don't do that.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. I didn't bring the name up. You guys brought him up. He was here with the Chargers first. They didn't see anything in him, so they let him go.
And whose fault was that?
Okay.
But my point is okay. Sam Laporta, really, Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's pretty good.
Yeah, Laporta's a perfect example.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is pretty damn good.
He is
very, very good. Jameson Williams, very, very good. My point is, I feel like it's hard for a tight end to come out on the scene when there's no other receivers around him that kind of take that spotlight away. Then I'd be worried about that for Bowers a little bit. That'd be like my worry.
Look, maybe I love that position more than most, but I'll say this: when you're sitting there and you're saying, okay, they have a big time tight end on that team, how do you stop them? How do you stop them? Do you do it the safety or you do it the linebacker? Right? I mean, there's no way to really stop one of those guys, but yet you get a big time corner and you can kind of shut wide receivers down. We see it all the time. The tight end is so hard to find a match to shut that guy down. Often it takes 2 guys on your defense to take him out of the game. And yet, if you're really good at it, like Antonio Gates or Travis Kelce, you still can't shut them down. They still find a way to beat you.
Agree. Next comment comes from Slime Rustbucks. Nice. Can you please talk about how dumb the trade Herbert to the Vikings narrative is? I think it's so dumb. I hate it. I don't think it makes any sense. It reminds me of when the Panthers traded DJ Moore to the Bears for Bryce Young. And then it's like, great. Well, who's Bryce Young going to throw the ball to? I mean, that was DJ Moore's all they had with the Panthers. It didn't make any sense at all. I don't understand the trade. I don't think it's going to happen. Do you guys feel the same way?
It's not happening. I'll quit the show. I'm telling you right now. There's no way it's happening. I mean, you're going to lose your entire little fan base that you have. I mean, come on. What are you doing? There's no way Justin Herbert is being traded to the Vikings. It's not happening. That's the most ridiculous comment I've ever heard.
Or anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, traded. Yeah, Justin Herbert is traded sometime in the next 5 years. I'm telling you right now, I'm quitting the show. I'll burn the hat, and then I'm going to sign off on the computer. Done.
Yeah, I'd burn and pee on the hat.
Next comment comes from GTL. He says, what do you think of Daniel Jeremiah's trade down passing on Marvin Harrison Jr.? Is that guy trolling us like that knucklehead Emmanuel Acho, or is he serious? These draft guys must hate the Chargers. Fun fact, Daniel Jeremiah is a Charger fan, born and raised
and he
in
works
El
for the
Cajon.
Chargers.
And he works for
Gets
the
paid by
Chargers,
the
born and
Chargers.
raised in El Cajon in San Diego. I don't think Daniel Jeremiah is trolling at all. I think he looks at the Chargers and says two things. One, Marvin Harrison Jr. is not as high on his board as other people's boards. And two, he sees a ton of holes on the team. And as a Charger fan, we should step back and look at the team and say there are tons of holes. We could do it together. Right tackle is a big, big hole. Middle linebacker is a big, big hole. Cornerback is a big, big hole. Receiver is a huge hole. Tight end's a huge hole. So you got to look at this team and think, oh my God, if we can get a haul by trading down not too far, we got to consider it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It's the Daniel Jeremiah. Sorry, I'm kind of with you, GTL. By the way, Jersey Shore fan myself. Let's go. It did piss me off a little bit seeing Daniel Jeremiah's like stuff though. Like sometimes I'll go, Daniel, we're just going for the take here. And I've said that a lot of times on the shows. We're getting to flirtatious with that season where like some mock drafts are just for the takes, which I respect. Go for it if you got it. I do think that there is people that don't have Harrison Jr. high as on the board as others. And I think the QB hype in this draft is just going to get more and more and more. And I think people also, we're going to get in this place, Dave, where people are going to make more and more arguments that the gap between Harrison Jr. and Malik and Roman, like, it's not that big. And if it's really not that big, it's more kind of last year's draft where it felt like all the receivers were kind of like, they're like the same level. I think you can kind of see Harrison Jr.'s value keep slipping. And the reality situation is, Dave, also is like someone's going to slip. Like we say every year, everyone that expects to go from like 1 to 10, someone's going to fall. And it's just who that player is and who's going to take it.
It's going to be a quarterback. That's who's going to fall. You're going to see one of these quarterbacks that are going to fall, and that's going to become the story. You know, I mean, who's brave enough to show up to the draft kind of a deal? Like, you know what I'm saying? You're looking at these quarterbacks on this list, and we went through the 6 guys last week. Somebody's dropping. Happens all the time. I'm curious to know. The quarterback I'm most curious about, which guy shows up and is sitting there for a while, is JJ McCarthy, because he's the one that's gained more steam than anybody else. And you wonder, is it basically a ruse? You know, is this guy really going to be drafted that high, or do people believe he's the next, franchise quarterback in the NFL? Looking at the wide receivers, someone's going to fall apart. Unfortunately for the Chargers, they got the guy that fell apart last year, right? They drafted the wrong guy. There's so many guys that were available. They all went around the same time, and the Chargers happened to pick the one guy that wasn't the guy. But you'll see guys once in a while in these drafts that show up out of nowhere that become quality NFL players. I mean, Puka is a perfect example. I mean, even Terrell Owens, out of UT Chattanooga, he was so far back in the draft, people passed on him. I don't know about you guys, but I like to look at old drafts to see how these guys did. And you realize the GMs and NFL teams, they screw up all the time. You don't want to be that team that makes that mistake.
I'll knock out a couple questions from Jack Agnew. He says, what do you guys think about the report of the Cardinals listening to trade talks? I think the Cardinals should be listening to trade talks. I mean, to say we're not going to listen to anybody is just dumb, right? Even if you're not going to trade the pick, you should always be listening to what's out there. And then Jack also said, hey, Josh, did you see the report on Bleacher Report of the GM, Joe Ortiz, offering Allen multiple different contracts? Laugh out loud. Yeah, I saw the report. It just, to me, it reminds me of high school when one person says, I broke up with her, and she says, no, I broke up with him. And then you're like, well, you broke up. So it doesn't really matter to me. You guys aren't together anymore. Do you guys feel the same way?
Dude, what a great analogy from Josh today. That's such an accurate one. It's the biggest, no, I did it. No. It's like, all right, let's put the egos aside. Who the hell cares? You guys clearly do not like each other anymore. It's just one of those things where it came out. It's frustrating. It didn't come together, but at the same time, like, why report it? Is this just for the Chargers can say, oh, we tried, and kind of paint Allen in a bad light a little bit? Like, who the hell cares? The divorce happened. The papers were filed. He's gone. Let's just move the hell on.
That's where I'm the same way. That's how I feel. I look at, I was hoping Keenan Allen would be with the Chargers. I didn't lose a minute of sleep. It ended up where, he's like, this isn't for me. Chargers said, okay, well, we don't have any other options. We're going to let you go. And we're going to let you decide, how things are going to work. Ended up getting a 4th-round pick for him. He's out the door. I've forgotten about it already. I don't wish him the worst, but at the same time, I'm not cheering for Keenan Allen next year. He's wearing a different team's jersey. I root for the jersey. Let's be honest. That's where I'm at. And so the only curious thing I have about Keenan Allen being in Chicago, who's wearing number 13 next year? I'm just curious to know who gets the number, the quarterback or the wide receiver. Got news for you. I think it's the quarterback. So good luck picking your number. Good luck finding an In-N-Out burger. This is the same guy, again, as I start to trash him, that wore a Raider hat on the day he was drafted by the Chargers. Was he ever really a Charger? Just saying. Bye. We'll see you in the Ring of Honor ceremony.
Ivan Tiogan says, mashed potatoes or scalloped potatoes, Mario?
So I had to do a quick Google scalloped potatoes because I didn't know what they were. Had them multiple times. No one really told me the name of them. Just thought they're a special type of potatoes. Phenomenal. Scalloped all the freaking way. I wish I could have some tonight. They're really good. A little Thanksgiving slept-on meal right there.
All right. For me, since he asked the question and he actually paid to ask that question, I will. I'm a mashed potatoes guy. Now, look, I hate sweet potatoes. I like mashed potatoes. I don't like when people get lazy though. I don't like when people get lazy though with the mashed potatoes. Like you ever have, at a family event and someone's in the kitchen. I know it's a lot of work, and you got your niece in there who weighs like 98 pounds, who's sitting there and not doing a great job mashing them up, and then you're just getting them and they're like chunks in there. Like, are these really mashed? Like, is this the best effort you could give us? A little disappointed. If it's like tapioca pudding in there, like, what the hell just happened here? But if you do a good job on it, I even like the fake mashed potatoes I used to give you in school. I love the mashed potatoes. Here's the thing for you. I have this question. I've thrown this at Josh before, Mario. Why is it okay to go through a drive-through and get French fries and eat them in the car? Okay, like you could sit at a red light and eat French fries, but you can't go to like KFC and be at a light and start eating mashed potatoes with one of the sporks, right? People look at you like you're a weirdo. Like, who eats mashed potatoes in the car? It's the same damn thing.
They're fatter
potatoes
for no reason.
Dude, maybe because they see you pouring the whole thing of gravy on top at the same time. But dude, right? Like, you can eat French fries, but you can't eat mashed potatoes in the car without looking like just a slob.
All right, I got a question back for you then. What's the worst drive-through to go to and eat while you're driving?
For me, it's In-N-Out, or it used to be Tommy's if you could find a drive-through. But In-N-Out,
why is In-N-Out bad?
man? Because it falls all over your goddamn shirt. For me, it does. Everything falls out.
But In-N-Out has the thing that catches everything if you use the wrapper.
Okay, now that's a great point. Okay, I'm gonna tell you two things on that. One is because I consider myself a drive-through expert. One is the protein style burger, which I'm sure Mario would get because Mario watches what he eats. The protein style burger In-N-Out, it's basically a burger wrapped in lettuce. Dude, all that crap falls all over you. You have no chance eating.
You can't eat that while you're driving. There's no way.
You can't. It's
impossible.
There's
no way.
Burger you could pull off.
Calories.
And anyone ever notice that when you get a taco at Taco Bell, that the wrappers are built like for left-handed people? Like, what the hell's going on here? You got to turn the thing a whole certain way, otherwise it falls out on you. You get lettuce all over the place. Am I right? What's the deal with it's like left-handed scissors? What's the deal with the left-handed wrapper? And I don't like fast food places that serve napkins that are brown. It makes the food taste worse.
Dude,
100%. It looks like they're using recycled napkins. What are we doing?
It's
here?
Lazy. Yeah. If we had brown toilet paper, we'd be pissed. Why are napkins okay?
100%. Josh is right.
Wow.
Yeah. Brown, I don't know what it is. I'm just not into. Okay. Here you go. I'm all over the place now. Last thing I'll throw at you. I went to a Laker game last week when they played Minnesota, and in the media room they had all the water and soda you could drink. So I'm grabbing a water, and I'm about to drink out of this bottle, and the bottle's this big bottle, and it says 100% recycled bottle. And I'm like, 100%? Does that mean somebody drank out of this bottle? Put a top on it? Freaked me 100%. Out. Guess what? The water didn't taste as good, and it sat in I brought it home. I sat in my refrigerator for 7 days, and I was like, I think I'm just going to give it to a guest. But then I backed out. I was afraid that they would call me out for giving them a recycled, 100% recycled bottle is what it says right on the label. What's that all about?
Yeah.
Wow. There's a lot thrown in there.
Bother me. A lot of things bother me, Mario.
I didn't know where we were gonna go with that, but that just kept going. I was intrigued that whole time. Not gonna lie.
Will asked on the side, by the way, says Will C said, "Damn, Dave is a Tommy's guy." Will, if I was on death row, it'd be my last meal. I love Tommy's. My favorite meal.
Wow.
I'm gonna go to back to football. Sorry, what do you got,
Yeah.
Mario?
Fried football. No, I was just gonna say I was trying to think all the time. I think a taco or I was gonna say a burrito. Burrito, it's going all over my face. I look like a 4-year-old. That's all I
Yeah, I
got.
think Taco Bell's the worst for me too.
Yeah.
Ryan Culpepper says, speaking of all these holes in our roster, how in the world did Tommy get a second run at GM? Was that an early Christmas present for Chargers fans now that he's with the Raiders? Okay. So we talked about this already. We've heard, Dave and I have heard, we went out to lunch with a person that's in the media that you all know, that we're not going to mention by name, that said that John Spanos is making a lot of decisions and Tom Telesco isn't. So we'll just leave it at that. I think people within the NFL, yeah, Tommy's hands were tied. That's a tongue twister. But yes, I think people within the NFL know about that as well. That's why Tom Telesco got a job immediately, because people felt like John Spanos was making a lot of the decisions and Tom Telesco wasn't.
Yeah,
I think on top of that,
what Tom does. I'm sorry, Mario. I'm going to throw this back at you in 1 second. The reason I wanted to jump in front of you, Tom Telesco. Remember where he trained? He trained with the Colts when the Colts were killing in drafts and doing extremely well. And so, you know, he learned from one of the best as far as building a roster, and not only building a roster, but being competitive for years to come. I'm very curious to see what Tom does with the Raiders, if he's truly the guy, because he basically went and got a master's degree and had to run a franchise, but he wasn't able to do it with the Chargers. So coming from the Colts, Mario being from Indianapolis, he had a firsthand, at least his family had a firsthand of watching it step by step as the Colts, as everybody remembers, was a dominating franchise for about 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, it was every Sunday. It was just like, let's just watch Peyton Manning win. You know, and I think
And
there's
look
something
at the
to
weapons
also.
he had. He had so many weapons. There's a reason
Oh
for
my
that.
God, yeah, Dallas Clark, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, like they were stacked.
Edgerrin James,
Even Edgerrin
and Marshall
James was
Faulk
on that
before him.
team. Yeah, I mean Joseph Adai even had like a little run where he was a really good running back. But also think too
who's the crazy safety that you swear would tackle a car on the freeway? You know, playing on the Chargers.
Bob Sanders.
Bob Sanders. Yeah, Bob Sanders like literally shortened his life in front of all of us every Sunday.
All-time Charger great, Bob Sanders.
There was who's the other guy?
White Freeney, all-time Charger great.
Yeah,
Freeney.
Great.
They had another safety too, like after Sanders, that his arms were like massive, and he was the biggest steroid head of all time. It was
Ron Landry.
Yeah. He just posts shirtless pics on Instagram, like, dude, this guy's on
just
steroids.
roided out of his mind. Yeah, and he got caught.
yeah, he got caught. Boy, could he not cover anyone though? Holy hell, he could come downhill, but he could
beat the hell out of you.
Yeah. And have back acne for days. On the thing for Tommy Telesco too, I was gonna say is I think also as a GM, and I mentioned this before and I'll just say it again, when you nail QB, that buys you a lot of time. Like I think he nailed Herbert. So I think if you nail that, it's gonna get you a job. It's gonna get you a job. Yeah, thanks. It's gonna get you a job again, no matter what in the NFL. Because it's like, what'd you do? I found Justin Herbert a generational talent. And the Raiders right now need a generational talent at quarterback.
It's kind of funny though. Like you say that he nailed Justin Herbert. It's like Justin Herbert fell in his lap. It's like when you're the president, and you catch Osama bin Laden. It's like he was the one that caught Osama bin Laden. It's like he didn't really do anything. I mean, he just happened to be the president when that happened. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Sorry.
No, someone asked. I mean that I'd be pumped if I was.
Someone asked who the credible source is in the media. Look, we're not going to reveal our source. I mean, if we reveal the source, then it basically ruins him from covering the Chargers. I'm just say it's Brian Gumbel. Brian Gumbel's the guy that told us. All right, so we'll just leave it at that. Sorry, Brian, you're old. You know, we'll just leave it at that. You happy? I revealed the source.
Yeah. Now he's gone forever.
Next question. Next question.
I don't even know what to do now.
What about?
I got a question. I got a question off the top of my head. All right, I'm gonna go with Mario on this one. If you had to bet money, because I mean, we all know you gamble. Who do the Chargers take? Who do they take in the first pick?
If I had to bet money on it, I'd pick. Without looking at the odds, I'd pick Neighbors. I'd bet Neighbors.
Why?
because I think when you let go of, I think before that, I would have definitely sprinkled on Joe Alt because as the look of it is like the direction is that they really want to pound and run the football down everyone's throat. But after the move of losing Williams, after the move of losing Keenan Allen and looking at our roster and going, okay, the only people we have to throw to is Quinn Johnston and Darius Davis and Joshua Palmer. I don't think you have any excuse to not take a wide receiver. Like, I think that is the biggest need. And I think it's going to be really, really hard to pitch, once again, a fan base, Dave, that is still growing on trading back and getting a tackle or even taking a tackle at 5. I think it's really hard to sell. And at some point, Harbaugh and Jim, they need to make a splash because that's what you're there for, guys. You're there to make a splash. And right now, they're not making a splash. I mean, they're just tapping the freaking water like they're in a bathtub playing with ducks. Like, they need a big splash. I think the big splash is getting a receiver at 5.
I'm with
Okay,
Mario.
my
You gotta
guess,
get a
Josh,
receiver.
my guess is if I had a bet, I said they're trading out of that pick. They will not use that number 5 pick.
Wow. How far down do they go?
Yeah. I could see 11. I could see 11 that they're trading that pick.
That's such a risk, man.
And
For Brock
either
Bowers
and
then, right?
I would root for Brock Bowers. Would not surprise me if it's Rome, but I would otherwise. I mean, we talked about Jim sitting there studying Marvin Harrison Jr. for 3 years. Guess what? Spent a lot of time studying Washington's offense too as they got ready for the national championship game.
My pick's in Marvin Harrison Jr. I think everything's pointing towards.
If they use it, I'd go Marvin
Jr.
Harrison Jr. If they use it,
Yep.
I just don't think they're going to use it. And remember this, as you said, everything is built for Greg Roman right now, which is crazy. Is that everything is going Greg Roman's way? Whatever he wants, he gets. I mean, look what he had in Mark Andrews. I mean, doesn't that lead to you believe that it's Brock Bowers?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And that takes care of 2 problems, right? You get a pass catcher and you get a blocker because Brock Bowers is a pretty good blocker. A couple more comments. Egregious Monk. Nice. Love the show, guys. Watching from Toronto. What kind of profile of receiver tight end do you prefer? This is going to sound so dumb. I want guys that want the ball. Quentin Johnston, to me, is a guy that didn't want the ball. Guys like Brock Bowers, you watch a Georgia game, wants the ball. Malik Neighbors, you ever watch an LSU game? Holy hell, does he want the ball? Even Brian Thomas from LSU wants the ball. I want guys that are gamers, guys that play against good competition. I'm SEC biased. Take an SEC player or Marvin Harrison Jr. We already know how good he is and his dad. So get guys that actually want the ball.
You get difference makers, right, Dave? Like, you get guys that are going to change the game when they get on the field. Like, you need that to win a football game. Like, that's what you need in this league, and that's what you need to win. And that's bottom line. You got to get playmakers, got to get game changers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you want guys that are playmakers, make a difference. Guys that basically make you want to run out and buy their jersey.
Yeah. Cody Lopez says, how will you 3 react when the Chargers, he's saying it like it's going to happen. How will you 3 react when the Chargers trade down for a tackle and pass up on the big 3 receivers? Dude, I'll freak out. I'll be so pissed because I know there's nobody to throw the ball to. We already know how the next season's going to go. Joel, whatever. Even if you can play right tackle, who's he going to block for? I mean, Josh Palmer is going to have 100 catches and 1,000 or 1,200 yards. Quentin Johnston's going to have 1,000 yards. Justin Herbert needs to throw the ball to somebody. And there's only a few top guys in this draft, and you need to get one of them.
I'm going to be really honest. If they trade down and take a tackle and pass up on the big 3 for wide receivers, Dave, my expectation goes for the Chargers of like AFC championship level, like playoff run to let's just wild card. Like, that's what it would change to. It's like, let's just get in the wild card. Like, that's the level of jump I think I would go. Is look, this team's not gonna. I wouldn't be scared of them in the playoffs. Like, that's honestly how I'd feel. I look at them and go, I wouldn't be scared. Let's just pack the freaking box and let a wide receiver that we know our corner can cover 1-on-1 try to get open through the whole game, and let's see what they do.
Yeah, I'd be frustrated if they drafted a lineman in the first round. I mean, that's it. I understand. I mean, they could sit there and hold their press conference and say, when you build a house, you build from the ground up, and that's why we had to go offensive line. But I'd be frustrated. It's not too often you get a chance to pick this high in the draft, number 5. It takes a lot of skill to get the 5th pick in the draft, and that they earned it. So I'd be disappointed if they went offensive lineman. I would understand the press conference at the end, but as a fan that wants to see, basically Justin Herbert become what we think Justin Herbert is, I'd like to see a weapon for him to use.
Miguel Alvarez says, now that we're in the Harbaugh era, do you guys think most of our wins will be convincing? I'm so used to the heart attacks while watching Charger games. I think almost every NFL game comes down to the very end. At least most of them come down to the very end. So even if the Chargers are great, a lot of the games are going to come down to the very end. The difference to me is going to be that we're finally going to win more of these games. I mean, the last 20 years have been pain and agony. As a Charger fan, we lose most of the games at the end. So I think bringing Jim Harbaugh in, a guy that's used to winning, his teams have been clutch. I think it's something to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think every game's going to come down to the wire, like no matter what. So convincing ways, I don't know. I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. I'm just finding it really, really hard with like no receiver one right now to say that we're going to like absolutely dominate every
with
game.
you.
And, like
win a game?
Yeah. Like it's
with no
not
number
not
one
win
or
a game.
receiver to win a game?
But
yes.
Yeah, but like I'm expecting like when the Titans had the 1 seed and they won every game by like, 3-7. Like that's the ones I'm expecting. I just don't know if we're gonna.
That's the NFL. I mean, unless you're playing the Panthers 5 times a year, that's the NFL. That's why the point spread's always 3.5.
Yeah, but
Eddie,
you get what I mean. Everyone has those games where like you just freaking knock them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, we got to talk about some of these things after the draft, guys, because we don't know who's on the team yet. I mean, the team right now is going to be so much different than it will be in 3 months or whatever. Dave, this is from Eddie Ramirez. Dave, any concerns on Yamamoto's first start?
Yeah, I was up at 3 a.m. I watched that. I'm a huge Dodger fan. I was up early smoking cigars by 4 a.m. 100%. There's always concern. Look, as Josh knows, especially Josh is a Padre fan. I'm a Dodger fan. So this happens all the time where obviously people give me a hard time if the Dodgers don't do well. I will say this: it's the beginning. It's a bigger ball. It's not as tacky as the one that he pitched with in Japan. Give him time. They gave him a 13-year, $325 million contract. The Dodgers have nothing but time. Also, remember this: Ohtani struggled in his first 3 starts too. He'll be fine. He'll be absolutely fine. I hope.
All right, we're gonna end on this one. We're gonna end on this. It comes from Isaiah Francis. I'll start with Dave because he's the oldest one. Who are y'all's all-time Chargers Mount Rushmore? 4 people, just in case you forgot how many are on Mount Rushmore.
It always bothers me when people
Sadly,
can't
thank you
remember
for
it's
saying
4.
that, Josh.
Did you know it was 4? All right, so it's 4. I'm gonna give you. I will tell you what. I'm gonna throw a 5th one because people mess it up all the time. It's like when you ask people how many states there are, and they'll tell you it's 52. It's not. It's 50.
Wait, what? Who says 52?
All the time. Just randomly ask somebody today, hey, how many states are there? And see how many people tell you it's 52. They think Alaska and Hawaii were added on. No, it made it 50. That's why Hawaii is known as a 50th state. It drives me nuts. People can't even get that right. But I'm gonna give you 5 because there are a lot of Chargers I like. Okay, and so just guys that I like. I'm going Junior right behind me. I'm going Rodney Harrison, one of my all-time favorites. Super disappointed when he wasn't a Charger anymore. Eric Weddle, who's a personal friend. I like Eric a lot. We're going to try and get Eric on the show, too, before the season starts. Phillip Rivers would be my 4, but my number 5 I'm going to throw in, guys, because he's the reason I fell in love with Charger football is Kellen Winslow. And I know I put him over Antonio Gates, but Kellen Winslow, the game in Miami was like, all right, there's something here. There's something really exciting about this Charger team. And I've never seen a guy like Kellen Winslow. When you talk about leave it all on the field, that was a situation. I had no idea when I first started doing Charger talk on the radio. By the way, I was part of the Charger station, and I had Dean on. I had no idea that the Spanos family hated Kellen Winslow. And I asked him in my first interview, when are you going to retire number 80 and honor Kellen Winslow? I got in a lot of trouble for that. I got a lot of trouble for that question. I had no idea there was a fallout between the Spanos family and Kellen Winslow. Not a fan of Kellen Winslow Jr. Not on record.
I don't think many people are after what he's done, but my four guys, and I can only talk about the people that I've seen. I'm 30 years old, so I never watched Dan Fouts play or Joyner or any of the other guys. Kellen Winslow. My 4 guys, I'll just go my 4 favorite players. Junior Seau, obviously. Love Junior Seau. LT, I don't know how you forgot LT has to be on that list.
Yes,
I didn't like the Jets tattoo on the calf.
Yeah.
Someone said, I can't wait till Mike Williams gets the Jets tattoo on his calf.
Go ahead. Junior Seau, LT, Antonio Gates. I love Antonio Gates. And then my favorite Charger of all time is Phillip Rivers. Love Phillip. kills me he never won the Super Bowl or made it to the Super Bowl, but those are my 4 guys.
Okay, so every time we mention Philip, we have to mention the very funny moment of him and Jay Cutler screaming at each other from opposite ends of the field.
I was
Like that is
yeah.
beyond. That is one of my favorite moments in NFL history, just because Jay Cutler was cussing like every other word, and like Philip was just something about someone crap talking you, and he doesn't cuss, and he's killing you, and you are cussing, and you can't beat him. It's the funniest thing of all time. Shout out Father Phil for that. I'm with you on this one, Josh. On LT, first off,
I'm glad you
sickest
guys said LT.
visor.
Ivan in the message is super upset that I didn't mention LT. Sorry, but these two guys picked me up.
Oh, dude, LT with the visor was I tried to look like that every year in football, and I looked not even close. But I thought that was the sickest thing. No one looked cooler than him in a football uniform every Sunday.
My turn off on that visor is him sitting on that sideline in New England with that visor and that coat and just sitting there not helping out Michael Turner of what might happen. Like, dude, you're out for the game, but you aren't going to at all act like you're interested. Come on, man. Let's go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. You better be crying behind that visor, LT, because we wore.
Junior Seau is my number 2. Trying to think. I honestly put Father Phil is probably my 3. And then I really want to put this one guy in there, but he was supposed to come on the podcast, and then he canceled on us last minute. So he's no longer going to be up there. I'll go Antonio Gates for my last one.
So nobody said Justin Herbert.
Same list, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Nobody said Justin Herbert.
Not yet.
Okay, not yet.
Not yet. There you go. There you go. All right.
Well, there's one more.
Yeah.
One more. Really, I kind of want to answer because I think people might be interested in this. It comes from Jay Blaze. What do you guys do for a living outside of the podcast? Mario?
I'm the executive producer of Bet for the Cycle every Sunday from 12 to 4 p.m. Eastern, and executive producer of 5 Star Weekend with Pat Boyle and Sean Marash every Sunday from 9 to noon. And then I also run social media accounts for BetQL Daily and the BetQL, which make sure to go and follow on Twitter, Instagram, and wherever you want to follow.
Yeah, so mine's not as cool as Mario's. I actually work in healthcare, so obviously I like doing this more than healthcare, but I work in healthcare. I also help Dave coach when I'm in San Diego. I live in Nashville, Tennessee now. I have a couple side businesses. Dave and I have a media company together, JP25 Media, but I'm getting married this year, so I've been focused a lot on the wedding and just trying to stay up with the Chargers as much as I can.
Yeah, I do other shows besides this one. I do a show if you're in San Diego and you remember me from doing morning radio, Dave and Jeff show, and we still do that, but that's now in podcast form. Josh's idea was a great idea. Go the podcast format. Radio seems to be kind of a dime business right now. Love doing the Bolt City podcast, though. This has turned into one of the best things of my week. At the same time, do a show with Nicole Eggert on through that same media company, the former Baywatch Charles in Charge star, and coach a lot of baseball. As you guys are writing to me, what's the deal with Dave's red face? It's called being in the sun every damn day. All right, I'm not embarrassed. All right. For some reason, I don't know why people keep calling out my red face. I'm in the sun. I don't know what to tell you. That's the way it works out. By the way, speaking of, and Josh and I actually, we run a nonprofit we're very proud of too, called Jake's Projects. And the nonprofit is designed to help kids who can't afford to play sports. Again, we'll do a free plug right here. It's jakesprojects.org if you're interested in helping out kids and families who can't afford to play sports. It's obviously a nonprofit, and the name is in my son Josh's younger brother who passed away. It's also I'm getting a lot of messages because I think of Mario. One of you guys brought it. I think it was Mario brought it up on who we picked to be in the Final Four last week, or who we had winning it all. So I don't know if you guys are getting these messages. This is one of the funniest things to me about being guys, though. Someone is killing me with fifth grade humor. What time does Morehead State play? A big Morehead State fan. Got it. How can you tell who the Morehead State cheerleaders are? I got it. Dirty knees. I got the jokes. What time does Oral Roberts play? Stop filling up my DMs with all these fifth grade jokes. All right.
No,
This
keep
is the
going.
way-
Keep going.
This is what I'm getting on my feed. And so,
Good.
yeah, do I chuckle a little bit? Yeah, but I'm immature. So I'll tell you right now, that's the kind of humor that makes me laugh. But man, I got it. Big Morehead State fan. I understand. I got it.
That's good
That's all I
stuff,
got.
Josh. That's
That-
good.
that's-
I
are you
would
guys
like
getting the same?
people to
Are you
keep
guys
doing
getting the
that.
same thing I'm getting, or is it just me?
I
That's
think you
getting
just
this?
made that up just so you could say that on the air.
You think I was able to make up all those that fast?
You just named
Come
2
on.
schools and made 3 jokes. Wasn't
I was
that
about to
hard?
say you did name 2 schools and then you did 2 jokes at the same school.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, someone's going to send me a Morehead State T-shirt. I understand.
You always make it really
Yeah.
hard to sign off on these shows because you say some crazy stuff.
I
Yeah.
don't know
what
what
to
to
say
Did you
next.
guys realize? By the way, did you guys realize in the show my chair broke like in the first 5 minutes that I am
No.
squatting like Johnny Bench?
Really?
Dude, I was gonna write to Mario like, dude, take me off screen so I could fix this chair. It is completely just sunk
Easy.
all the way down.
Easy Teletubby.
Like
It's Deception, brother.
Dude, I'm telling you, I got like cramps in my calves from just holding myself up for the last hour. Yeah, completely. I dropped, dude. The whole show, I just kept going lower and lower, dude. Now I'm on the ground almost. It's insane. Because usually you can't see my mic. Someone said, "Hey, Dave, why don't you get a mic like Josh and Mario have?" I do have the same damn mic. It just I hide it better. It's lower normally, but now you can see the mic because I keep sinking all the way down. It's insane how low I am right now. Like I'm
That's
not joking. I'm
funny.
6 inches off the ground. Yeah. Anyway, there you go.
There.
So we're gonna be back on. We got to figure it out. You got to pay attention. We're going to be back. We're gonna, actually, you know what? We can make it back. I can make it back on Tuesday if you guys want to go Tuesday. We good?
I can do
Yeah,
Tuesday.
that's good with me.
That's good
All
with
right,
me.
we'll go to.
Go
Shit, I
Wolfpack.
don't know.
Actually,
Hold on
I'm
one
gonna be
second.
on a
Wait.
plane.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can't do Tuesday. Josh is on a plane 1 and
Nope, can't do Tuesday.
Yeah, I coach a
Go
game
Monday.
exactly at the same time.
You do Monday?
Yeah, I can go Monday. Let's go
All right,
Monday.
cool.
All right. Well,
Monday.
that was a lot of fun, man. Getting a chance to answer the questions. That was pretty cool. Okay.
I like it.
You have a
Thank you
question
all.
right there, Josh, on the side too. No, the Chargers should not draft Nicole Eggert. She's a great person, but she can't play football. Not even a football fan. But anyway, so look, we'll be back on Monday. Monday's live show, 1:00 Pacific time. Again, appreciate everybody participating today. Bolt City Podcast through the Odyssey app's fantastic. If you watch the YouTube, great. If you're joining us live, man, it's been a lot of fun doing it this way. But thank you so much for participating in the show. Leave the comments if you didn't join the show live. We read through all those as well and try and answer those. So for Mario Heron, Josh Palais, I'm Dave Palais. We'll see you next time.
Go Chargers and go Wolfpack, baby. Come on, Nevada.